Artemis II is expected to make history in just a short time. You see our countdown clock right now is right around 2:45, 2:44. We had a number of issues today that they worked through. We had a battery issue, there were a couple of sensors, but they ran through all of their diagnostics and a number of checks. We got an all systems go several times, and I think I heard the commander say we are a go for all humanity. So with any luck here in the next 2 minutes, we're going to have a launch.
It is just so exciting. We've got butterflies here. You can only imagine what those 4 astronauts are feeling as they await liftoff. Now just 2 minutes, 30 seconds out. And the exciting thing about this, if you're watching us from home, is that you can actually step outside about 30 to 40 seconds after launch and maybe see something if you look east, northeast. And our Craig Patrick, he has been following this so closely. He is live there for us with all of the spectators, their eyes to the skies, waiting just minutes away. Craig, what is the feeling that you're getting being out there with all of those spectators?
Well, they're excited, as you would expect. And when we say all of those spectators, we left early this afternoon to get here to Cape Canaveral. And all along the roadways, you saw it wasn't so much bumper-to-bumper traffic because so many cars and campers had pulled off to the side of the road. And here we are on the Cape, and you can see many other spectators here with us sitting on the rocks, facing in this direction. This is due north. We're at the Cape. On the other side of the water, just past that berm, you will find Kennedy Space Center and Launch Pad 39B. That's what all of these folks are looking at, looking forward to, and expecting a tremendous launch from the Space Launch System. That is, as we know, the most powerful rocket ever built, more so than the Saturn V that launched the Apollo missions. It is an extraordinary launch to see. Of course, we saw it with Artemis I around 1 o'clock in the morning. Here we will see it a bit before sunset. And assuming that all checks out and everything has up to this point, we will see this now in a matter of seconds. In fact, I believe less than a minute away.
Is just thinking about how fast this rocket can go. 3,100 miles per hour about 2 minutes in. I mean, just try to wrap your head around the speed of that.
Great call out. The rocket is on its own.
Yeah, and by the way, the first thing you're going to see, assuming that it launches, is about a minute in. You're going to see it begin to roll to get into the right trajectory. A couple of minutes after that, you'll see separation. In the meantime, you will see something extraordinary in just a few seconds.
And here we go. We are just seconds away now from liftoff.
Booster ignition and liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage.
Integrity, AMT high. Integrity through max Q on pumps daily on.
Stan, we have you loud and clear on pumps daily on.
Have you the same?
Center. You see a tremendous arch from our perspective. And boy, does it look beautiful here. You don't hear a lot of clapping, just a lot of people with their phones held high in the air as the rumble begins to roll across the water. A lot of people just watching this in absolute awe and recording it on social media for all of their friends to see, that they got to see it from this vantage point on Cape Canaveral.
Pretty amazing, Craig, those blue skies from here. I know some folks are probably rushing outside to check it out right now. This is a view actually from Tampa. That's what we're seeing about 250 some miles away. It is a glorious day, and so far so good for this crew. We're a little bit more than 2 minutes into the flight. This crew of 4 heading on a historic mission around the moon and back to set the stage for man to return to the moon by 2028. Craig, the crowd there, I know you probably have a lot of family members, but a lot of space enthusiasts, everybody who's there. And then there's your final separation there. You see that. So the Orion capsule is now separated from the main boosters rockets.
That is incredible. You know, few
Yeah,
things in life will take your breath away, Craig, and this is certainly one of them.
You know, there's just not a lot of loud, rousing cheers. There were cheers at separation, but really this is just people taking it in, I think appreciating the enormity of this moment. Yeah, you do hear cheers as it begins to fade from view here, but these are people who traveled not just from the Tampa Bay area, but really all across the nation. We found tourists, some of them who had planned trips to Florida anyway, others who traveled all the way here to be part of this and to see this flight, which will now spend about a day in Earth's orbit, and then once all systems are a go from there, then take off for that trip around the moon and then back.
So many of us are watching this unfold live. There's actually a watch party right now at Mosey. Let's take a look there, get some of the reactions from folks. I mean, look, it is absolutely packed with people just watching from inside of the digital dome. What a moment to be alive and to witness this, because you think it's been more than 50 years since we've journeyed to the moon. This is a moment that we will look back on for years, and we will tell stories about what it was like to see it all unfold. But how cool, you see some clapping there, a lot of excitement as people watch from Mosey.
And the numbers are staggering when you really put this all together. We're barely 3.5 minutes into the flight. This crew and that rocket is now 50 miles away. They're already going over 5,000 miles per hour.
Wow.
And they're going to be at the moon, Craig, what, in and around it within about 12 hours, right? Is that roughly the time frame?
Yeah, you know, once you're going to get into orbit, it'll be 9+ minutes, and then around 24 hours around the Earth, because once you do the burn to get to the moon, there's no going back at that point. You're going to basically ride the curve of space around the moon and then back. So they want to spend 24 hours to test all of the life support systems, all of the equipment, to make sure that everything checks out perfectly before they make that final commitment in a day. And then it will be a 4-day trip to the moon. So you're approaching 5 to 6 days before you reach the moon. Again, going around it from a distance of about 5,000 miles, then catching the moon's gravity for a slingshot back to Earth, landing in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego in about 10 days.
It's so cool to hear all of the cheers and the excitement still from your live shot there on Cape Canaveral. Craig, if you could explain for us, because I think when you hear it's going to slingshot around the moon, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around that phrase. I mean, there's a lot of precision that goes into making this happen. Can you explain for us in layman's terms how they're doing this?
Well, this is Einstein's laws of curved space. Larger objects curve space more. Think of it like a bowling ball and a trampoline, and then you put a tennis ball around it. The tennis ball will go in a circle, perhaps, around the bowling ball. The same idea applies here. Well, it's how, you know, our planets revolve around the sun. When you very precisely time a trajectory of Artemis II on a path to the moon, and the moon's in motion as well, it will create a curve or a ripple in space. And with that, you don't have to do any additional engine burns. Instead, it will catch and hook into the moon's gravity, which is curving the space around it, and it just rides that curve around it and comes all the way back around on the other side, getting that assist from gravity, knowing that you don't need to have any more sophisticated burns in order to get there and get back. That's why they're not going into low orbit around the moon. That requires more navigation, a little more risk, and the goal here, again, is not to test a lander, but rather to test the life support systems of the capsule, and more generally the European Service Module and Artemis II.
Yeah, it's just amazing. We're at 80 miles away now. 10,000 miles per hour, our crew is now traveling.
Yeah.
And it's going to be going 25,000 miles per hour when it lands back in the Pacific. It's just, it is so fascinating, and what a huge accomplishment. I can only imagine what all the folks there at NASA are feeling and cheering right now, as we're now 6.5 minutes into this launch. It's remarkable.
Oh my God!
It really is, and it's been a long time in the making. We were here back in 2014 for the first uncrewed test flight of the Orion after Constellation was canceled. There was uncertainty of where the space program would go from there, but it was the discovery of ice beneath the lunar surface with the probes that made us realize that with a source of ice, and by the way, the first 3 inches are dry, the next 10 feet are wet, meaning that you can use robots to mine the moon. You then extract the ice beneath the lunar surface. You can use that, break apart the hydrogen and the oxygen using solar energy, and then use that to get big bursts of steam, which become a source of fuel, again for missions to Mars and missions beyond, but also for fueling data centers on the moon as well. We have so much controversy over the explosive growth of AI and where we get the energy to do it. Well, we will soon hopefully have the ability to offload that into space. We'll also have the ability to mine helium-3 from the moon and use that perhaps in Earth for quantum computing, as well as other applications, including the possibility of cold fusion here on Earth.
It really is remarkable. Well, Craig, we certainly appreciate your perspective here. It is invaluable, and I urge our viewers, now that we have some time, now that we know it's happened, take a moment, hop on your Fox Local app or fox13news.com. Craig, you've done a number of these stories as well on there. That'll give us all some better background as well if anybody missed it. But
thank you.
Historic day where it looks like we're really close to their MECO point, which would be their main engine cutoff. So, but at this point, all systems go, and we're so happy for the crew and for NASA and this history-making day.
Oh, so exciting. Craig, thank you. We're going to let you continue to soak it in over there on Cape Canaveral.